get started. I'm John English, and some of you have seen some recordings I've done with Wayne Curtis or Susan Butler or Senator Richards, and it's a great way to reveal the history of A, the person, B, the time and place where she was long ago, and it's gone forever. And you know, my kids probably wouldn't recognize the childhood that I grew up in or call it normal. We always said it was normal. So anyway, I want to record this because 20 years time, you might not be here, I might not be here, or in 2 days, who knows? We don't know anything about that. So I want to record Doug, who in fact is my first cousin. And if there was a residence that I spent more time at than my own, was Doug's parents' place down in the front street in Nelson. Every Friday night we'd get down there, and my father and Doug's father would have a say, and the mothers would have a say, and it was what we did every Friday night. We were down there, and I considered it my second home. And of course, they were my godparents, so we have a real connection there, and so I want to give Doug the chance to say whatever he wants to say. And in fact, he was an English teacher in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't very good, was I?
Well, I thought you were not bad, John.
No, that's code word for saying not very good.
No.
I had different priorities in high school.
Yes.
We're not going to go into that right now. So here we are in March 2025, and we're going to see where it goes and just see what we have to learn. And that's a great thing about this as well, is the learning aspect of who the person is, and it's, like I say, the time and place that it occurred in. So take it away, Doug.
You're right. You mentioned that our parents were very close.
Yeah.
So when the extension of you into our family actually goes further back.
A long ways back.
So now,
64.
Yeah, we're going to go back, and John's mother had twins, and James is John's twin brother, and she needed some period of recovery, so
6 months.
Mom took John, and James went to Millie, one of her other sisters. And it's interesting because it was a period of my life where I was just a very young lad. I would have been probably 10 or 11 years old.
You would have been 11.
11 years old. And so I took it upon myself to become John's caregiver. So
That's why I'm so screwed up, Dougie.
Well, it could be. And I just loved it. And I loved him taking care of him. And I remember one time we had a cupboard that swung open, and I was rocking him.
You dropped me on the head.
Close. Some reason I was getting up, and didn't his head hit the door? Mother of Jesus, I thought to myself, my God, it killed me. And I didn't. And of course, the soft part of an infant's head. It was a natural thing, but I figured that I'd done the poor lad in. But I'm very glad to say that he's here, and anything that he has wrong with him, Jackie, I'm afraid that's up to life, or whatever happened after that. But anyway, yeah, I born of course, in Nelson, lived in Nelson most of my adult life. I went to St. Thomas, and then I went to work with the kids over at James M. Hill, taught for 6.5 years there. And then I went to work at the community college, and community college worked for I guess whatever left, 30, 35 years or so. Very much enjoyed that. In fact, Jackie and I were just talking about some folks that we both knew from the college, and it just fantastic to be able to work with people who are just themselves. They want to do the best possible job they can, and that's the experience I had of working with folks at the community college. The part that interests me in terms of my life is rather odd, I suppose. But anyway, when I retired some years ago, I spent a lot of time, of course, outside where I love to be. And then just last year, in fact, in January of last year, I thought I think I'll just start writing, creative writing. Now, what I was doing at work was, of course, all bureaucratic stuff, and there was no sense of imagination, obviously, in it. But when I started to do the creative writing, I discovered things that I really enjoyed about myself. I saw that I had a skill, and that connected with this notion of curiosity. I have a real curiosity about folks, and I just love to listen. I don't talk a lot, but I like to listen. And so what I started to do then was to write a bunch of stuff, and I must get the first one anyway. So the first product of my writing turned out to be this sled, Stories from the River. And as the name suggests, they're people that I met along my journey. The first part of the book focuses on my early years, and because as a gay man, and I hope that doesn't offend folks out there, I'm sure today.
If it does, too bad.
Too bad, we've already got it on film. So it covers my experiences growing up, and then our little community of Nelson, and it was small. Mm-hmm. It was packed with characters, and there were. So then you had to learn to get along in the community. And what I adopted, subconsciously, I guess, was a kind of a masculine, almost hyper masculinity was the way I describe it. So, then I could fit in. And, but at the same time, what you had going on, or what I had going on then, was trying to explore who I was,
Understand yourself.
Yes, like any kid would try to understand himself in that environment. Yeah. And so the stories came out of that. The stories came out of the frustration of trying to live that life. And some of them would include, like for example, a small thing in a snowstorm. How could something like that come out, and how could it work out to be you were struggling with yourself, and so physically, I loved shoveling. I'm one of those weird kids.
Me too.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I would take and wait for a big snowstorm, and I would shovel. And I would shovel the yard, the whole friggin' yard. Jesus, sometimes I would shovel the driveway. And it was frustrating, but part of the release was there. Physically, if you could release yourself, then you could have, your thoughts of whether you fit or didn't fit. So some of the beautiful things that one of the stories was in the middle of the snowstorm. I'll never forget they used to have the voodoos out of Chatham, and the voodoo would come across our house. The Beaubears Island, and I used to talk to some of the pilots down there later, and he would say that they would use Beaubears Island as part of their landing area. When you're trying to set yourself, lined up.
Yeah.
And I saw that thing come out in the beautiful big light in the middle of a snowstorm. That's actually the first time they flew into Chatham. They were an American plane, and they brought something to Chatham. And that sense of wonder was there. And that probably was one of the things, even as a young man, where I discovered the creativity that I had. And I looked at, some people would look at that thing and say, well, yeah, it's just another airplane, whatever. That's not what it worked. And
That's not what you experienced.
No, I went to the library and tried to find out as much as I possibly could. And from there, that then created at one point, as I get older, a desire to fly. And that desire to fly, again, wasn't ordinary. I was scared to death of airplanes. I loved to watch them, but I didn't want to get near them. And so, anyways, one time I decided I'm going to face that fear. And so I went to the local, it was Chatham Air Services, then with Jim Seal. So I took my first flight, and it wasn't too bad.
Was that 10 years ago, 5?
Oh, longer.
Longer? Oh.
Yeah, that's at least 30 years. Chatham Air Services itself is long gone, and there are planes still down there. Some of the local guys, Bobby Gillis, I see has one there, and I think Bobby, I don't know if it's Bobby Gillis, he has one. But anyway, I signed up. I said, okay, I'm going to apply. And I met some fantastic people there. Jim himself these people were associated with the Air Force. So Jim was a navigator on the Voodoo. And then I met Glenn French. Glenn was probably a navigator too, and Jim Sprague, he was a pilot. So you meet these guys, and of course you sit and listen to them, and you get kind of it builds on you. You want to know more. And these guys would be like, for example, Glenn. Probably only the second or third time I went up with Glenn, and I thought, oh my God, am I going to tell? Yes, I'm going to tell him. And I said, it's like coming out or something. I said to Glenn, I got to tell you why I'm doing this. And Glenn was totally laid back. I scared to death. You have no idea what my heart's doing right now. And Glenn looks over at me. He said, Doug, I flew B-52 bombers in Vietnam. And he said, Doug, every time that I got into that plane, he said, I nearly shit myself.
Well, it was a combat situation.
But he said he was afraid of flying. He was afraid of flying. A guy with that much experience. My point in saying that is that it's typical of who the people I met while I was learning how to fly. They were just being honest. Whatever image that I ever had of folks was wiped away.
Well, here it was. You had a fear that you thought was
unique,
unusual,
odd,
individualistic.
Yeah.
And then you come to realize, I'm not so abnormal after all.
Yeah.
That must have been a great thing to...
It was, but again, did I get over totally the fear of flying? No.
I don't think a smart person would get over the fear of flying.
No. And I went along, and then another character that I met, he was, and I'm not going to go in, give his name because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But anyway, I call him King in my story here, and he was an owner of a tavern in Miramichi, and laid back is one thing, but when it comes to flying, there are certain things that you have to know, technical things, and you have to abide by them. And you also have to have a fair bit of common sense. Well, he lacked that common sense part. So anyway, I came to the hangar one day. I was scheduled to go with Jim, Jim, and he was there, and very nice guy, very friendly guy. So he comes out. He says, "Oh, Doug," he said, "Yeah, good to see you. Jim's not going to be able to take you up today, but Doug, I got some time. How about you and I go out?" So I said, "Oh, okay, well, I guess so." And I was running late. So up we go, and I'm first anywhere around maybe third or fourth lesson. And effectively all I was doing was learning how to bring the airplane down and take it up, touch and goes. And we come along, it was going all right. Then he says to me, because he's bored, he says to me, "Oh, Doug," he says, and here he is holding the record book for the
log book?
the log book where you put your hours in. And he's looking at it. Doug, he says, "Why don't we do, you're number 3, why don't we go you by a Kushibugak and we'll learn, teach you how to do some stalls and
Holy
stuff."
shit.
And I said, "Yeah, holy shit," was something, but like I was saying, it was important. I "No, we're not going to do that." I said, "I can't do that. Stall dog is really easy. And look at it, it's as simple as all, All right, geez, I guess we'll do it." So we get out there. Now, Doug, he said, "All I'm going to do is set it up, and I'm going to do it, and you follow through on your yoke and your pedals. And see how it goes. Nothing big." "Okay, all right." So we go into a stall, and all you do is spit it up, put your nose up a bit like that, put it up, hold it up. Then the plane doesn't have enough air to hold it up, so it goes down and down, and then he recovers. God, that was easy. I thought to myself, maybe I'm underestimating these things. "All right, now, Doug," he said, "you do it." So I set it up. Plane goes up, not too bad. All right, yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. Okay, now let's do the spin. The spin is the next one. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, you do the stall and then spin. So I'd been to ground school enough to know that, a stall is easy. You go like that and you recover, okay? But a spin, and this is what sometimes happens in planes, people get themselves in a situation. So the thing goes up and then it goes down, okay? But there's no recovery. And what you do effectively is down and down, and unless you recover from the spin, you go straight into the ground. Okay, that part of the physics started to get settled in my head. And then he says, "Okay, I'll set it up, I'm going to do it." And he sets her up, and he goes down, and of course, as you're watching, the earth is coming closer to him. But he quickly recovered from it, and up he goes. You see how easy it is, Doug?
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing. But I don't know what I'm doing. Don't you worry, we're going to do one more, and I'm still going to fall, but you be right there. Okay? So put your hand on the yoke, put your foot on the pedal, and all we're going to do is go up and we're going to go down. Now, to recover, you hit the other pedal. You've already got yourself into a spin, right? Now you hit the other one, and that counteract it, yeah. And again, I did that, and I thought, yeah, that's all right. All right, now we're going to get you to do it. You do it alone. So, sit her up, and wave go. Okay, now, Doug, and hit the other pedal, eh? Now we're still going down. Hit the other pedal, Doug. Jesus Christ, hit the other. He kicked my leg off of that. Whoa. Oh my God Almighty! He saved us from crashing. So anyway, I said, "Look, going back to the base." I said, "I'm going back to the base." "Well, no, Doug, no, we're going back to the base." We finally got landed. And I said, "Look," "there's never a chance that I'm ever going to be in a plane with you again." I said, "You are the craziest son of a whore I ever met." And that was the end of my flying career with him. I did go on. I did get my license. That was fine. But he and I never got into the cockpit again. That's one of many.